Hey everybody, welcome to the 30-Day Sober Challenge, day 19. Zach Mathers here. Want to remind you a couple resources. One, if you're not listening to Braving the Journey podcast, it's a great place to hear stories. Stories of other people that are working through recovery, advice from therapists, advice from people that are in the world of recovery, because it's there's so much wisdom out there, but we have to figure out where to get it from and learn from it. So be sure to check it out. Today, we are talking about replacing beliefs. And this is something that I find personally I have to be very aware of. And it is something I find I have to work on. So yesterday we talked about this imposter, right? This person in our life that, like, our alter ego or our false self, and writing a letter. So I hope you did that. I hope you wrote this letter to him. Today, though, we're still talking about these beliefs that we have, because unless we can address the beliefs, we still can't move into who we are, which we're going to have some time doing tomorrow of discovering that. But what I need you guys to do today is I need you to get really, really raw with yourself, meaning I need you to create some space and time and process this. So I'll give you my example. This is my world. This is my story. So 13 years ago, I'm a pastor of a church at this time, and it's a young church. I'm a young pastor. My wife and I are about 3 years into our marriage, and my son is on his way. She's pregnant with our first child, and with all the stress of being this young pastor and all these things, and these aren't excuses, guys. These are just the reality where I was. All these different parts, and this imposter that we talked about yesterday of mine that had this belief that I had to have it all figured out and show everything together. I didn't. I was stressed inside. I was full of anxiety. I was full of all these parts that I go, man, I don't know what I'm doing. And I lash out, and I ended up having an affair, which I don't even like the word. I mean, I cheated on my wife, and I couldn't live with it. So I came one night and told her, and she packed up and left and grabbed our newborn son and left. And all in that moment, my wife left, we got separated, and I had to go tell the church. So I lost my job, I lost my community, and I lost my wife and my son, all within a 24-hour period of time, by my actions, my choices. But the belief that I held on to, even after my wife and I spent a lot of time in counseling, even after I restored my marriage, even after I was a loving, kind father, I still had these beliefs. And the biggest belief for me that I held on to about myself was that I screwed up too big, that God can never use me again, that I screwed up so much that I can never have a voice to the world again. And so for years, even after things were better with us, even after I'd worked through all of these different parts, my biggest belief I had was that I was a failure and that I could never be used to speak into anyone else's life again because I screwed up too big. And to be honest, you guys, that belief I had was what held me into my drinking so much. Because anytime I would feel that, I knew if I drank, I could numb the feeling. But then as soon as I would sober up, I had more shame, and it would almost compound on itself. And I'd be like, see, you are a failure. And so that was my cycle. That was it over and over and over again. And it wasn't until I was able to face that belief, address that belief, and then replace it. So the belief I had was that I failed too big and that I was a failure and that I could never be used to speak into anyone's life again. That was mine. That was my big one. There was lots of other little ones, but that was my big. That was the one I had to find. And it took me a long time to dig there and get there. I'm inviting you guys to dig there and get there today. I want you to create some space and time, and I want you to write out all the beliefs about yourself, good and bad. What do you believe about who you are? I mean, really, what do you believe? And I want you, if you're vulnerable and willing to and open to it, share it with us on the Facebook group. Or share it with me directly. Just email it to me because I want to see it. I want to see what you're coming up with and aware of. But I also want you to pair it with good, because it's so easy for us to begin to look at the beliefs that we have about ourselves. And if we only look at the negative and then we begin to believe the negative, it can get to a scary place. So I want you to to be aware, these are the beliefs I have about me that aren't good. But also, what are some truths about you that you believe about yourselves? And tomorrow we're going to even dig into more of the replacing part. How do we replace the beliefs? But I don't want to jam, these last 3 days, yesterday, today, and tomorrow, it all kind of works together, right? So we looked at the imposter, we wrote a letter, we said, hey, I don't need you in my life anymore, but thank you for what you've done. Now I'm going to even look a little bit closer. I'm going to zoom in more. I did this big spectrum of thanks, imposter. Now I'm zooming in. What are these beliefs that I have about myself? What are they? Mine was that I failed too big and I can never be used again and I'm just a failure. That was my belief. Okay, so write them out today. Write them out. Write them. Just write them. Anything that comes to your mind, write it down. Even if you're like, what the heck was that? Write it down. Then tomorrow, we're going to go, let's replace these. And I'm going to walk you through how. Because, you guys, if we cannot dig and look at these beliefs and replace them with truth, guys, you're going to just go back to drinking. You're going to just go, man, you're going to go back to your negative habit, whatever that, maybe drinking isn't yours and you're watching this whole video series and you're going through the 30-day sober challenge, but you're struggling something else. You're going to go back to it. Because if we cannot begin to replace the beliefs we have about ourselves, it doesn't work. So this is a big day. All these days are big days. Every day is a big day. I'm proud of you guys. I just want you to know that. I am proud of you. This takes a lot of work and a lot of energy. Create space. I don't know when your journal time is, if it's in the morning or if it's in the evening. Create the space. If you got kids and you need a break, find somebody to help. Create space. Create space to do this stuff. Because the truth is, you go watch this video and do nothing, and nothing will change. All right, you guys. I'll see you guys either this week on the Zoom or video tomorrow. Check it out. Bye.